Hi guys, how you going? Happy Saturday to everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. I just took out my headphones. So yes, hello and welcome. Happy Saturday, as I said. So today we're talking about child restraints and what that looks like in family daycare. Now I do want to share this with you so that I stay on track and make sure that we cover off everything. Okay, so as I said, today we are talking about child restraints in family daycare and what that means for you guys. Now, once I get this going, here we go. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so as you know, I'm Jodie Signorino and I founded and run JPS Family Daycare Advisors, and I work with approved providers, nominated supervisors, leadership teams. So that's what I do all day, every day. And I share my knowledge with family daycare educators to make sure that you are getting the best out of your business. And most of this is on YouTube. So this is all free training for educators. So yeah, I'm glad you joined me. And we've got a lot of participants now watching videos. I am going to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and know that we meet together on this land today for the betterment of all children. So thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to turn your notifications on because the topic is different every week. So you'll get a notification when it's about to start. So make sure you do that and you'll know what's coming up as we go. All right. Child restraints. We do know that children are at risk on our roads, and we know that because children are smaller in stature. We know that children's cognitive development hasn't quite given them the ability to, judge speeds and distance, adequately. So they don't really have that capacity to cross roads and those sorts of things. We also know that children are road users as far as they are passengers, they're cyclists, and they are pedestrians. Now, did you also know that the road safety education program, which I'm part of that to deliver working in conjunction with ELA, Early Learning Associations Australia. So make sure you jump on and register for your free road safety education program. And you may even get me as your presenter, depending on the night and the time. And also for family daycare educators, you guys are out and about with children all the time, very different to other service types, and it's just part and parcel of your everyday. So child restraints are really important for you guys to know. Okay. Firstly, choosing the right child restraint. Well, we know that there are age and height restrictions around choosing the right restraint. We also know that choosing child restraints must have at least a 3-star crash rating. And we also know that they must be Australian approved, so meet Australian standards when you are choosing your child restraints of what you're going to use in your program. Now, I also know with many of you, you have multiple ages, and that is the benefit to family daycare. So you may be choosing a child restraint from a younger child and a child restraint for an older child and what that looks like. So we know that children moving into restraints, that's why I want you to do the road safety education training, because that talks about using the child's skeletal system and how the seat belts should fit, when to put a child into a different child restraint or upgrade them into a child restraint. So that's a lot of the work that I do. But today I wanted to talk to you about your budget for child restraints, because I did some research and we know that many of you have children for a really long period of time, so you're going through that growth with the children, and you might have a child that starts with you as a baby in a rear-facing child restraint and then goes into a car seat and then goes into a booster seat. So there are going to be times where you will need to change or purchase a new child restraint. And what does that look like for you? Now, you hear me rabbit on all the time about having some, like basic business principles in your family daycare program to help for this. And this is one of those where we want you to make sure that you do have the funds if you need to upgrade any child restraints, or you've got a new family coming in and you need to upgrade, or if your car has been involved in a crash, or if you're borrowing somebody else's car seat, like the parent may provide you a car seat. We also know that if the child restraint is involved in a crash, that you will need to update it then. Or maybe you just want to upgrade. You've had the same child seat in your car for X amount of years and you just want to upgrade that. So today I want to talk about how you can do that and make sure you've got those funds available to you. So we know that child restraints can range in price, and we tend to advocate against purchasing secondhand child restraints purely because you don't know the history of the restraint and it may have been in an accident. So that's one of the reasons why we definitely don't advocate for purchasing secondhand restraints. So we know that they do range in cost. So just an average really good child restraint will cost you, a car seat will cost around that $600 mark. So if I said to you right now today, right, give me $600, you would absolutely feel that, like we all would feel that. So what I want educators to really try and get to that space where they're not feeling those capital works. So that would be a capital upgrade. That would be from a budgeting perspective. That would be considered a capital upgrade. So I want you to look at your budget and think about, well, you've got a child that's going into a booster seat in the next few months. So rather than, paying a $600, what would that look like monthly to you if you were to plan that out over 3 or 4 months? I've done this for 3 months. So you would be putting aside $40 a day in order to make sure that in 3 months' time, you've got those funds there to purchase any new child seats or child restraints that you need to purchase. Now, when I talk about capital upgrades, and you may have seen some other videos where I talk about putting, you might want a new climbing frame out the back, or you might want new tables and chairs, or a new set of blocks, or a new pusher, or any of those sorts of things. That's where, from a budgeting perspective, we do talk about capital upgrades. And so planning that out and thinking, well, I need $600 to purchase the new child restraint in 3 months' time, then you're only putting aside $40 a month, and that would really help you get that, so you're not feeling that $600 straight out of your pocket, out of your budget. And as I say all the time, you want your business to be able to pay for these type of things. You don't want it coming off a redraw on your mortgage, those sorts of things. That's not a viable business practice. So we want the business to be able to accumulate this money so that you can afford any capital upgrade, whether it be a child restraint or, as I said, a climbing frame out the back or anything like that. So when we talk about developing budgets, now this is also talking about people who are starting up. So I've spoken with a few educators over the past couple of weeks, and so I get asked the question, how much does it cost to start up a family daycare service from home, program from home? Well, look, how long is a piece of string? So that's really difficult to say without doing a complete analysis myself. So firstly, you've got to look at the home, you've got to look at the fencing, you've got to look at it. Do you need safety gates? That's an expense to go to. Then you've got to look at your resources. What kind of resources will you need? What age group are you going for? How many resources do you need? How many days are you going to be operating? What are the hours that you'll be operating? Are you providing meals? Are you providing nappies? So there's a number of considerations going into developing a budget. So making sure that your budget, I also talk a lot with family daycare educators around hidden costs. So your developing a budget will help you identify those hidden costs. And making sure that you've got your head over those annual expenses. Now, a child restraint may not be an annual expense. You may purchase, it might just be a one-off expense. So it's about planning for what that looks like and making sure that you've got that money aside. Now, for any capital works, I absolutely recommend that if you work out what your capital works is going to cost you, and you work out how long that's going to take you and how you can save that money to be able to afford that over an incremental period. What does that look like? It could be $20 a month for something that you want. Or if we look at this example with the child restraint, it's $40 a month for 3 months that you need to put aside. And have a little bank account with very minimal or no bank fees, because you don't want it to be costing you anything either. And then you pop that money aside weekly, and therefore you don't notice it as much as you would if you get hit with these big expenses. And again, you don't want it coming off your mortgage. Developing a budget will also help you think through hidden costs. Now, hidden costs is often things like this. When you plan your your service when you've started up. You may have planned for child restraints when you're first starting out, but you may not have planned for any upgrades or considered that children, yes, I've got a baby, so I've put the expense in now and that's my startup cost, but I haven't put any expenses or any finances aside to upgrade those car seats when children are ready for booster seats. So that could also be a hidden cost, upgrading your child restraints. Another hidden cost that we often see, and the example that I often use, is celebrations like Christmas presents. Do you have those kind of things in your budget? What that art and craft or whatever it is you look like, whatever it is it looks like at the end of the year, have you accumulated that over your year? Having a budget also, and this is probably where I'm most passionate about it for family daycare educators, is having a budget and really recognising all of your costs and your expenses, whether that's one annual expense or whether that's a one-off expense like upgrading your restraint or anything like that. It really is about recognising whether or not you're getting paid your worth and whether or not your rates that you're getting paid do actually cover all of your costs and it is a viable business for you. Okay, so you'll also hear me say over and over again, review, improve and embed. So by reviewing your financial practices and your capital works in particular and how you're going to continue to upgrade your business or put new things in your business or whatever that looks like, have a look at and reflect on how do you manage your budget currently. Is it in a spreadsheet with all the formulas in there so that you can see your bottom line, what your profit margin is, what you've got to put aside for taxes, what you've got to put aside for capital works, how you can identify your hidden costs, and then you can work out your base rate and figure out whether or not it is a time or an opportunity to renegotiate those rates with your service provider. So that's my main driving force behind this, is that you are getting paid and the business is absorbing all of the costs to running and not, you know, your mortgage or your partner may not be supplementing your income and those sorts of things. So that's what we want to move away from. So definitely it is about managing your finances over that 12-month period. And the first time you do it, it may seem overwhelming. You may go, oh, I work from home, why do I need a budget? But as a governance and leadership advisor, any business needs a budget regardless of what it is. So a family daycare educator undoubtedly needs a business plan, and it's not, you know, business plans don't have to be, they don't have to be this huge massive detailed plan. You don't need an MBA, but you do need some of these basic principles in order to remain viable and make it work for you. Okay, so business plan, I give everybody a business plan at the end of these sessions now. So this is part and parcel of what we do. I want educators to have this free business plan so that you can get that thinking in your business and see how you want to do your capital upgrades. What do you want? What does that look like for you? How much money? Business planning also helps with customer service skills. I know we talk a lot about the finances and the capital works, but it also does help with your customer service skills. It helps with your branding and marketing. It helps with your future direction. And of course, it also helps with your risk identification, which is very pertinent in family daycare. So we definitely want this process to be put in place in your family daycare home or residence or venue, just to make sure that you've thought everything through and you've identified everything and it's all running all smoothly. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. I will talk to you next Saturday. Keep your eye out. You will get, if you've got your notifications, you'll get a notification when we're about to start. So I will see you back here next Saturday. Enjoy your week. Have a great week. See ya. Bye. Oh, now I've got to stop the share. Enjoy. See ya. Bye.